Welcome to the Barker Podcast Collection.
I suck, you suck, I suck at Call of Duty. You suck.
Welcome to the Not Playing Podcast. My name's Rob Howard, and this week I'm joined by
Ian Bruce
and Patrick K.
You can contact us on email at notplayingpodcast@gmail.com or follow us on Twitter at notplayingpod. I just wondered what you guys thought about this Hitman going fully episodic. Have you heard anything about this?
Yeah, I think
Jim's go on.
I think it's a good idea, and I can understand the business reasons for doing that. But is it going to episodic? Either reminds me of. There's a few things it reminds me of. Half-Life and Half-Life episodes, whatever that was, that did a couple and then, we're not going to do anymore.
Yeah.
Sin, which was a good game, a reasonable game originally, and then got rebooted and lasted one episode and then failed.
Yeah.
Or was going to, and then it went away. But then you've got stuff like the Telltales and Life is Strange and other games that have done it pretty well. So I think my question is it going to be a viable story in an episodic format? Is there going to be a tedious ton of DLC to help you along the way? Get access early by purchasing this nice suit with a flower on it. No. And is the company in trouble? I mean, that's the main one. Are they doing it episodically because they don't think they can? Is it a cash grab, or are they being cautious?
Well, I think, there's a lot of questions there. Jim Sterling's done a couple of videos on this where he got all ranty about it, but that's because he apparently had it on good authority that Square Enix have been looking at alternative ways of selling games to us. And it's almost like there is no game now and it's just DLC. You know?
That's been the case for a while, though, hasn't it? For a while, hasn't it?
It has, but it's like that's the cynical way of looking at it. The positive way of for me personally is I think it kind of makes sense in the context of a Hitman game because you have various contracts. So what they're essentially doing is, here is your contract.
Yeah.
£10. do the contract or don't do it.
But I can see from a story point of view that would make sense, but then it becomes about cost. If there are 6 contracts and they're £10 each, that's a £60 game, and they can fuck right off. But if it's £15 and that's a season pass or something, or it's £3 a pop, that's going to be better. I didn't know what you said about the Square Enix stuff, but if that's what they're doing, I think that is what they're going to be doing. And all of their games will be episodic, and it's the next episode, stay tuned. If you can get it for a $5 an hour, or wait and get it.
That's apparently why Deus Ex has been delayed, because they're carving it up into a trilogy. I've heard.
Jesus.
That's a rumour though. That's not been like confirmed at all.
If I'm honest, I'm not going to go. I'm not going to get either, so I'm not going to be.
No, but I will say I've definitely kind of Hitman's always been on my radar, despite me not having played any of them apart from the very first one years ago. But if you were to package Hitman up in a sort of 3 to 4 hour $10 package, that is a lot more appealing to me. I mean, that's something I would be that is more consumable for me.
But it is consumable by the very nature of what you have to do. Absolution, I think, is the one I've got installed at the moment. And
I think I have that.
It's a good game, and also you can drop in and out of it because as long as you're not an utter noob, you can probably do a contract in 45 minutes, an hour. And then you go away and you come back and you do the next one. So it's already episodic like that.
Yeah.
So how are they going to break it up? Is it going to be a different level each time? Don't know.
Well, I think it's each mission takes place in a different country. I think the original pitch for Hitman was that you were gonna buy it and it was going to be more of a substantial game, so that they could sell to you for a substantial game price, and then there would be additional contracts later, just like they do with all these games.
Yeah.
But they've just decided to ditch that and just go episodic. I think it's based on the success of things like Life is Strange and the Telltale stuff. I hope they have some success with it, because I mean,
I hope they do, but
I think that
don't those other studios do that because they're not big teams? So they need to get.
yeah.
I mean, I don't make games. I know people that do, but I don't talk to them about them. But games usually cut from reading shit. They usually come with a massive budget, and then you launch it and you get your money back. And that works because you've got a massive budget and hundreds of people working on it, and they're all paid and stuff. Episodic games mean smaller studios can put something out. If people like it, they'll get some money back from it, and they can invest that immediately in the next episode of the game. Why is a company like Square Enix doing that, except to cynically exploit the fact that that's become a bit of a thing at the moment?
It has, but I don't know if the alternative is a lengthy pre-order thing with loads of annoying marketing bullshit and no game for a year. I think maybe I might like to have some of that game earlier and actually give a shit about it because I've played some of it and I want more.
Or avoid the marketing bullshit?
Well, yeah, you can. You can try.
Yeah, true. Okay.
They're getting pretty good at it now. So yeah, talking of large publisher bollocks, we've got Origin Access is a new EA subscription service that has been on Xbox One for some time and is finally coming to PC.
I was a bit tempted.
Finally.
I did look at it and go, oh, Inquisition, oh, Hardline, for a $5 a month?
I was actually quite tempted by the fact that you can get Unravel, or like the first 2 levels of it, which is effectively a paid demo.
Yeah, like you get on
not
PlayStation Store all the time.
Yeah, let's not
Try it for an hour, and then
you get like they did this. They do it with a lot of their new games. They let you play like some of it for like 10 hours worth of it a week early or something. I don't know whether this. I mean, to me, I guess it depends how much you're into EA games. I think this will appeal to a lot of people who get FIFA every year, who people who are into the Sims. But
that's still £60. If you only do it for one game, it's still £60 a year.
Yep.
Which is usually the price of an EA game at launch.
Yeah.
But even if you played a couple of games, you're probably still saving money. Maybe.
Yeah.
Dunno. I'm trying to avoid Inquisition because I know I'm going to play it for an hour and then wish I had 1,000 more hours in a week.
Oh, you're not missing much, mate. That is a very on reflection.
Oh, the anti-marketing has started, right?
I mean, I think I put this in my games of the year, but on reflection and having played so many better games since, it's like that. Okay. That was such a bloated Ubisoft of a game. It really was.
Jesus, right?
Yeah, I mean, it looks lovely. It's definitely a good. I mean, I got it just before the night. While I think I put the 970 in just after getting it, and it was really quite lovely to look at. But that is a giant game as well. You're looking at 100 hours.
Yeah, no, no time.
But it makes sense for EA, I guess. It gives them something to do with their back catalogue other than flog it on Humble Bundles and stuff.
I quite like to see the Saboteur in there, though. One of the best games I've ever made.
Well, you never know. It might show up.
Yeah, I suppose. Fair enough.
I mean, at the moment, they're obviously trying to pitch this for all their big franchises, but...
Yeah.
Not tempted by it? Unravel, Patrick? I know
I think I'm going to play that.
Not gonna get an Origin Access account for it though.
Nah. Well, I don't know. That game looks kind of awesome. It looks like exactly the kind of game I like playing. But I'm just gonna wait until that one comes out.
Yeah, It's unbelievably for EA, it's only 15 quid, which I was
that'll be the
dubious
first
that it would be.
level or something.
No, I just thought, oh, it's EA, it's going to be full price. But no, they've gone for a fairly sensible price point with that.
Like Ubisoft did with Grow Home. Was that Ubisoft?
Yeah, that was super cheap. That was like a £5 or something.
Yeah, it's a wonderful game as well. Jesus, I've got that. It's
you mentioned
lovely.
it last episode, or well, a couple of episodes ago.
Charming.
I remember.
Yeah, I have to play that.
I need to get
there's
around
very
to
little to it, but it just really works. It's a wonderful thing.
No, it's good that they are. It's like these big studios are kind of setting up these little micro breweries,
Yeah.
for lack of a better term, and getting some things out there. Speaking of some micro brews, I don't know. This is a shit segue. Psychonauts 2. Didn't mention it last time, but they. I wondered what you guys thought of this because. They made their crowdfunding goal, but it wasn't Kickstarter they did.
Was that
they did it with?
Was it Fig they did? Was it?
They did it. Yes, it was Fig, and it's interesting because Double Fine have kind of an active interest in Fig
Because it's their company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but the idea, of course, with Fig is that it actually offers backers equity in projects, so you can actually make money off the final game.
Yeah, no. Not yet.
What you mean?
I think
The idea is ahead of its time, or
I think
it's just not a good idea?
I think it requires the absolute guarantee or your money back of the project reaching fruition.
Right.
Otherwise, you're just giving money to somebody and them going, yeah, no, we'll probably definitely do it. And when we do, you can have whatever percentage. But 0% of nothing is nothing. So,
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know how like angel investing works. I mean, do they have that level of security with it?
no.
or-
But the difference with angel investors is they've got money trees in the back garden. The people that are backing this don't necessarily have however much they're going to invest. I know it's the price of a game, and you're always taking a risk with what you buy.
I think to get equity, to be honest, you have to be pitching in at a fairly higher level than just like I want the game.
Really?
I think so.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know exactly how it works because it's so out of my league that like right after the $10,000 pledge, there's register to invest.
Yeah, it was only going to be a matter of time, though. I mean, like, there's you get some of those. You get so many like Kickstarters where they have like really, really massive high tier things with like huge rewards. Like, it's only a matter of time before that creeped into it being an investment, and that's kind of what this is, really, isn't it? I think I don't know. Part of me just thinks, if you get a good game out of it, then that's wicked. That's all that matters. Like, part of me just doesn't really care. I'm just not that interested in the money side of it. But like, in a way, yeah, like it is kind of interesting if this could change. Would this change the way games are made? Like, if this became like a more common thing, would this actually alter the way games are made? Do you think?
I think it might if. I agree with everything you've just said, and for the smaller companies who want to fund their own projects and have a community that feel engaged with it, I think it's a great thing. But at some point, Square Enix will be, would you mind very much crowdfunding our next game? And that's when the good that these things might do becomes a bit...
That's already happened.
Corporated.
Sony did that for Shenmue 3, I think. They're like, Shenmue 3, Kickstarter!
Yeah.
Give us your money!
But wasn't that kind of a...
This is a very different thing when the money's coming back, though, isn't it? It's a very different thing. Like, Project Cars had that kind of crowdfunding.
An equity crowd.
That's right, yeah. Like,
right.
A friend of mine backed it very, very early on, and he actually received some money back from the game. So
Okay.
it is something that has been done already. I don't know. I'm really interested in. I don't know. I'm really interested in if that could be like become a common thing, like a more low level. Like if investors, you're just simply paying for the game, but maybe at a slightly higher than the normal price.
But what?
And having a small return.
Are you now part of the board? Are you able to get up and say, no, I want it in purple instead of I want it in red? Or
no. Although you could always have like super high end stuff that could allow you to affect like some certain set things in the game.
Yeah.
Or having your image in the game or something like that,
Well, they do that with the higher level pledges, but I mean, the reason the way they pitched Psychonauts, because they tried it with a couple of like lower profile, completely no sort of heritage games, this was the most successful implementation of the FIG model, because they sort of explained like how many units the original Psychonauts had sold, and then how much it had sold like over time. Mm-hmm. So, because what you're relying on to get any money back after a Kickstarter, you're asking them, because obviously you've got all the people that pitch in for the game to bankroll the game initially who don't buy it. So you've got to be willing to believe that the game is going to then go on to then make its money back almost again in real sales after all those people have contributed $3.5 million.
The most interested parties have already bought it.
Yeah. So you're basically hoping that the game has enough of an impact that it goes beyond the core fan base.
But I suppose if you've got that initial spurt of $3.5 million and that's everybody that wants to buy it, then at least you're not going to lose money necessarily.
And that's where it becomes a less effective thing for indies, really, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it becomes,
you still put
more
in
of a sure thing if you're a massive publisher with a big IP. But if you're like if you know an indie developer that's just got a really cool idea that has a projected budget that's way out of their stretch, where this would be a really cool enabling thing to make a game exist that couldn't have existed. By having people invest in it in this way, then it maybe falls apart because, like you say, you're not going to get those numbers. You can't guarantee those numbers. So yeah, it's an interesting
Oh right, look,
thing.
there's a little calculator here on the site. So if I put in, $500, and how many copies shall we go for? And it sells 2 million units, I get 900 quid back. If it sells 4 million, I get 1,489 back. So that's kind of how it works based on average wholesale, estimated deductions, adjusted gross. But yeah, so I mean, it's like so if you had like $5,000, you could get 15. You could triple your money essentially. But you have to be willing to believe.
How many does it have to sell for you to get your money back? What's the break even for you?
Investor break even was 681,000 units.
Okay.
So and that's to get your money back. So it's a gamble, isn't it? But then if you're a rich fucker with money to do that sort of thing with, it's no different.
That's why I'm more interested in that kind of lower level thing, like the Project Cars thing. Like that's where it's kind of, I think it's better for gaming because that could enable those smaller things. It doesn't rely on settling them afterwards as much as something else. So it's just getting past the problem with with crowdfunding is that it's quite a lot to ask to actually sell the game after you've actually made it, I think. Unless you're a wildfire success with something like Darkest Dungeon, that's done incredibly well.
yeah, it's just a big gamble, really. Whether no matter what level you put it at, I think if you go in there with the intention of you just want this game to happen, and not so much about making money, maybe it's the problem that the two things are almost counterintuitive.
I think it's just for some of these projects, people just want to help.
Yeah.
I backed the Zach Braff movie, the follow-up to Garden State. Still not seen it. I just wanted to help. It was
You just wanted that to exist.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
And the same with the Jeff Kanata thing that happened for a while and then kind of didn't.
Yeah, he managed to get away with that. Fucking hell.
Well, I mean, but he gave people what he told them he was going to give us. So I'm not bitter about it all, but
no, it stopped him getting a suit job and not being able to do podcasts. So
yes.
yeah,
And now he's wearing the Tesla suit for whoever he's working for at the moment. So yeah, good for him. He's done quite well.
Yeah,
and he's raving about VR, which is excellent. So
oh yeah,
off for a slow
definitely.
start.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Well,
that's all I got.
Okay. No other news? There's one more news item.
There was one more news, and it was just I just saw this today, and it just made me chuckle because Quantum Break, the new game from the guys that did Alan Wake and Max Payne, has apparently been rated for PC in Brazil or something. So looks like we'll be getting that on PC fairly soon as well.
Okay.
So yeah, if it's any good, that'll be good.
I'll wait for the videos, I think.
It's that kind of game, isn't it? I mean, it doesn't look very open world to me. It looks very nice, but
I'll wait.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it might be really fun. Who knows?
It might be. I'll wait for the Metacritic review before I.
Yeah, wait for the Metacritic score, average.
Yeah.
Then it will definitely be fun.
Yeah. 10 out of 10, best game ever.
This has been the Not Playing Podcast in partnership with notlistening.co.uk, where you can also hear myself and Ian talk about movies and TV on the Not Watching Podcast, and Adam, Ash and Will talk about all manner of funny things on the Not Listening Podcast. You can email us at notplayingpodcast@gmail.com, or you can tweet at or follow us on Twitter at notplayingpod. You can find the show notes for this show at notlistening.co.uk, and if you're listening to us on iTunes, please do give us a review. Anyway, that's all for now. Thanks for listening. See ya!
See ya.
Very well, traveller.
My friend, I'm inclined to agree, 'cause I suck. I suck.